What's up guys, William here, and I'm back with another video, and today we're going to do something a little bit different. I want to talk to you guys about how to keep your car protected and clean at all times. And so when I first got this car, I really had no idea what I was doing when it came to anything about paint correction or protecting the paint. I would wash the paint 2-bucket method, and as a result, less than 2 years later, it was covered in swirl. So I didn't want that to happen to this car. And unfortunately, when I brought it home from the dealership, it came with imperfections. And you would think a new car would be perfect paint, but you would be shocked at how untrue that is for most cars. Even supercars come from the factory oftentimes with blemishes in the paint. So me being a DIY guy, I wanted to learn as much as I could about restoring the paint, removing the scratches, and then protecting the paint. So I'm going to share with you the things that I have learned. I am definitely not a professional, but a enthusiast who just loves to take care of my car. So I wanted to make this video for you guys, so maybe hopefully it will help somebody who is really just cares about having that really nice clean look. And so my car looks like this all the time, and I'm very proud of that. I love the way the car looks, and I want it to look nice. I want it to look the way it was intended to look. And so I've learned how to be able to do that consistently, and so I want to share with you exactly what I like to do. So with that, I'm going to give you the 5 things that I do to keep it looking good if you try it on your own. So when I got the car at the dealership, I looked over the paint, it looked great, but unfortunately when I got home I noticed all kinds of imperfections, and that's when I learned that almost new cars have them, and just because it's new doesn't mean the paint is good. There's a lot of stuff that can happen from the factory to the dealership, and oftentimes the dealership don't wash them properly. So I really wanted to protect the paint and get the scratches out and everything like that. So I took it to paint correction, and the quote was just very high. I just made a down payment, so I decided, you know what, I'm going to try to learn this for myself. And so what I did was watch a lot of YouTube videos. There's a lot of great information out there for you. And I spent about $300 in equipment and purchased my own. And I'm here to tell you that you can do the paint correction. I honestly believe that anybody can do it. Yes, it's difficult to master, but it's not hard to do. It just might take you a lot longer than it would somebody who's a professional. But with today's technology, the polishers are so well made, it's very difficult to do any damage to your paint. I was able to get all of the blemishes out of my car. It just took me about 15 hours, which, yes, it's a long time, but the result is totally worth it. So I'm going to show you the equipment that I use. This is a Griot's Garage GG6. This is actually the old one. They came out with a new one that's a longer throw, better, more power basically. And these are some of the pads, and I have this larger wheel for when I'm doing bigger sections, and then this 3-inch wheel from when I'm doing smaller sections. And if you basically just stick to the foam pads and not the microfiber, it's going to be almost impossible to burn your paint, because when this spins, there's a bearing inside where if you're pressing too hard or you're pushing down on an angle or you're doing something wrong, this just won't spin. It'll just vibrate, and the bearings underneath, I don't know if you can see it here, will spin, but this will not. And so that prevents you from really making any mistakes. The only spots that you really want to be careful are the corners, where this is a sharp point. It's called a corner, and that is where the clear coat is a little bit thinner. So that's the only thing you really want to keep your eye on. I have a couple of great products, which I will show you here in a second. And so, oh, there they are. Okay, so this is Sonax line. This is a diminishing polish called, diminishing compound called Cutmax, and then perfect finish as a polish. And you actually really only need Cutmax. Cutmax is a pretty strong cutting compound that as you continue to polish the car, it will break down into smaller molecules and turn into a polish. So you can actually just do one step with the entire car. Unless you have black, then you might get a little bit of hazing, but for most colors, you can just use this product and get all of the scratches out and have an amazing finish. So that's the first thing that you can do to keep your paint looking absolutely great, and then we'll get right into the next steps. So the next thing that you can do to keep your paint looking amazing is paint protection film. And one thing I want to preface with is do not try it at home. Paint protection film is a very difficult skill that takes a while to master. So if you're considering paint protection film, I highly recommend it. It actually is self-healing, so if it gets a scratch in it, you can leave it out in the sun and the scratches will oftentimes heal themselves. It can protect against dings as well as paint chips. So very effective. I have only done PPF on the front of the car, and I got a XPEL authorized installer to do it. So this is all XPEL film, and it came out absolutely amazing. These cars, you should know, are actually very difficult to wrap, especially the hood and the bumper. Pretty much almost everyone who had their RS3 done has reported that the hood had some kind of imperfection, some kind of lifting here in this crevice right here. So it's a very difficult thing to do. I've had mine wrapped twice. The second time, it's still not perfect, but it's almost perfect, and I'm happy with that because you can barely see the blemish. But I felt that this was very important. It's also on the headlights, and this is just to protect all the abuse that happens on the front of the car. So the front of my car cost around $2,000 to wrap all the way up until the black strip on the top of the hood and all the way down the A-pillars, and that was the front half of the car. You really don't need more than that, but I actually would consider doing the kicker panels on the sides, as a lot of rocks like to get thrown up into there as well, and also the mirror caps. So other than that, you really don't need to do the PPF. Now I did do on my own the black strips right here, and I only attempted this because it's a very flat surface and it was easy to do. But you cutting the PPF is not super simple, but it came out absolutely great. And the reason I did right here is because this is where people like to shut the car and leave scratches, and with rings and fingernails and stuff, they like to leave scratches. And then I also did inside the door cup, as you can see, because people, even myself, like to get in there with your fingernails. So and then I had the trunk spoiler wrap just to protect the carbon from the sun. Even though this does have UV protection in it, I just wanted to make absolutely sure. So that would be the next thing that I've done to keep my paint looking like this, which is pretty much in perfect immaculate condition. All right, guys, so the next thing I'm going to talk about, of course, is ceramic coating. And so after the PPF, I decided to ceramic coat the entire car. And this is where I saved a whole bunch of money because I was able to do it myself. And yes, if you go to a professional, you are going to get a higher grade, harder ceramic that lasts a lot longer, about 3 to 5 years. The consumer grade is, they say 1 to 3 years. I'm guessing it's probably somewhere in the middle. I've had it on my car for about 7 months, and so far I have seen no diminished results. The water beads up and falls right off, and actually I have to clean the car a lot less. The dirt just seems to kind of slide off the car instead of stick to the paint. So it's one of the best things that I could have ever done to the car. I also believe that it also helps with scratch resistance because it makes the clear coat just a little bit harder. So I'm going to show you what I bought, what I'm using. There may be some better products out there. If you know something better, feel free to leave that in the description. I got a great deal on this, so I went ahead and went with it. And I am actually using the Armor Shield here and G Technique for the wheels. This has a higher rating for the brakes because it gets pretty hot in there. So you're going to want to use a good wheel ceramic for your wheels, and then this is what I used on the paint. It comes with a handy little kit. You can see here, these are the applicator with the foam pad, and then you have this very soft microfiber to wipe off the ceramic. And a quick tip for you is if you take a razor blade and cut on both sides of the foam applicator, you can take this and then kind of wedge it in there and then wrap it over and then wedge it in the other side so that it stays put all the time. You won't have it sliding around on you when you go to apply the ceramic. So a really great thing if you want to do it yourself, because you will save a ton of money versus the 1,000 or 1,500 or whatever the professional detailers do it for. And I understand why they do, because it is a lot of work. But this is an opportunity for you to be able to save money for those go fast parts or the Unitronic tune or whatever else that you're trying to do with your new car. And so I've coated this, like I said, 7 months ago, and including the wheels, and it actually even changed the color of the wheel, made them more shiny. You can see I haven't even cleaned the brakes and they're still clean. So it works really well, and very happy with this. And so actually you're in luck because I am going to wrap the carbon fiber. I haven't wrapped it yet. I'm going to wrap the carbon fiber on the mirror caps and then the trunk and the diffuser, and I'm going to show you how I did that. That way you can see how easy it is to do yourself, and then perhaps you will want to do it. So with that, we're going to get right in and start on the carbon fiber. Alright guys, I remembered I actually had to do my trunk lid because I refrained from coating this area until I put on my trunk spoiler because I wanted to do it all at once. So I felt like this would be a better place to show you what I do. And so the first thing you need to do on any thing like this is wash the car. And if you're going to be applying ceramic coating or PPF, the best thing you can wash it with is just regular Dawn dish soap. That will help break down any of the wax or sealants that are on your car. And so you're going to want to wash it, and then you're going to want to follow it up with some clay bar to get any decontaminants out of the paint. I've already done that. The paint is perfectly smooth, so I don't have to do that. But if you've driven your car for a while, or even if you just got it, there are very likely to be contaminants in your paint. So clay bar is a really good idea. You can just use some soapy water and get a small piece of clay and kind of ply it out and just wipe it on the paint like this, back and forth, this way and then this way, and that will take out any of the contaminants in your paint. And then once you wipe it off of all the soap and gunk that you got from clay bar, you're going to want to take some 50-50 alcohol and distilled water and basically just spray it on your rag for some viscosity. And then you're going to want to wipe the paint down. This helps get any dust. And also breaks down that last little bit of sealant or wax or anything that's on the paint, and just really leaves a good, sticky, bare, clear coat. Because that's what you want. You want the ceramic to bond to it very well, very easily. And so I generally like to, give it a good wipe. I don't apply too much pressure because I don't want to scratch the paint, but definitely give it some pressure to pull out any of that sealant or anything like that. And then I take a very nice plush drying towel and just help dry it up, because I do want to start it off being pretty shiny. So this already has paint correction. There's no scratches in it whatsoever. Not a single blemish in the paint. So we are good there. So now we're ready to apply the ceramic. And I have my foam applicator pad on the soft side. And I am just going to dab the ceramic maybe 6 or 7 times. And then all you're going to do is want to go up. And you're only going to want to do about like a 1 foot section. If it starts to feel dry, like mine was just starting to feel a little dry, I'll apply a couple more dabs. And then maybe go over it one more quick time, because you want to get every single square inch of the paint just to make sure it's spread evenly. And then all you're going to do now is set a timer based on the time that the manufacturer tells you. Every company's different. For me right now it's 60 degrees, so they recommend 2 to 3 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and set a 2.5 minute timer, let this dry, and then all you're going to do is wipe it off with this supplied microfiber towel, and you just buff it off until it's shiny, and that's it. You're done with that section. So while your timer's going, you can move on to this section, apply this, wait for the timer to run down. Once it runs down, you wipe it off, you already have another timer going for this side, and you work in twos. And I'll just keep going down the line until I'm done with the entire car. So as you can see, that is really very easy. You can get like a flat foam pad, a foam applicator, like for makeup, and kind of get in this crevice here too. I'm gonna take care of the crevice when I do the actual spoiler, but you can use, you know, any kind of soft cotton or anything like that to get inside those hard to reach areas. And that will offer additional, obviously, hydrophobic properties and also some UV protection. In addition to any PPF that you've installed, the ceramic will offer UV protection and also add hardness to your clear coat or epoxy. All right, guys, so it's time to get into the bread and butter of the conversation, and that is how to wash the car without getting scratches in your paint. And so I have discovered this method about 8 months ago, around the same time as everything else, and what I learned has really honestly changed the way that I wash my car, and I highly recommend you try it out, especially with a car that has very hard clear coat like this. And that's really the trick, right? We did all this work to the car. Now, how do we keep it nice? And this is really the most important part of this entire video, and that is washing the car. So I'm going to show you what I use. I'm going to show you how I wash the car and how I've kept it without a single scratch or swirl mark that I've seen. I've been inspecting the paint for a while now, and I still actually don't have any scratches. So let me just show you here what I use. So this is Optimum No Rinse, and this is a rinseless wash. And all I really need with this is about a gallon of distilled water. And so what I do is I take 1 shot glass or 1 ounce and pour it in a bucket with 1 gallon of distilled water. And then maybe half a shot glass in this, half a shot glass in this half a gallon sprayer. And I also fill that up with distilled water. But for your spray bottle, you can just use regular tap water. It's totally fine. And so with this, you're going to want about 8 to 10 rags in total, and then a few drying rags. And so I'm going to go ahead and get in and show you exactly how I do it. And so the first thing that you're going to need to do is dump a rag, a clean rag only. Never, ever, ever put a dirty rag into that bucket. You're always going to want a clean rag. And so you dump it in there, get it wet, and then wring it out so that it's neither damp nor sopping wet. I mean, this is just a little bit more than damp, I would say, and completely clean. And so then you get a nice plush high GSM drying towel. And so with that, I'm going to show you exactly how to do the hood and just how quick and easy it really is. Okay, so today I'm just going to pretend like this is really dirty. It's actually really clean, but I'm going to clean it as though it was really dirty. In general, the dirtier it is, the more often you're going to want to flip the rag. And I'll show you what I'm talking about in a minute. So the first thing that you need to do is spray the panel that you're working on. Generally, I'd recommend doing only half the hood at a time, or about the same size panel. And so all you're going to do is you have the rag folded up into quarters. So you fold it in half twice. And then what you're going to want to do, starting from the top, is work your way down. And so you always want to go in one direction. And so with every swipe, I'm going to check my rag. I'm going to pull down, and let's say I look and I find it dirty. I'm going to go ahead and flip it over to a clean side. I'm going to swipe down, check the rag, swipe down. Okay, let's say it's dirty. Then I'm going to go ahead and flip it over like this, and then just go ahead and wipe the other direction, and then that's it. That's actually clean right now. And so I'm going to take my nice plush drying towel and then wipe it down. And if done correctly, you can watch it dry. The haze will remove right in front of your eyes. And what you're left with is perfectly clean paint. Now, I understand this was already clean from the beginning, but it's the exact same process and result pretty much no matter how dirty the paint is. Now, If it is extremely dirty, let's say you got caught in the rain and the car is just full of mud, then okay, maybe take it outside and pressure wash it first and then come into the garage, and then you can do it this way. But this allows me to wash the paint without needing to be outside, without having to worry about water spots. I can turn on my air conditioner or heater, and as you can see how quick that was to just wash half the hood, the entire car goes in just about 12 or 15 minutes, and then I can just work on the tires and that's it. And so the idea with that is we always have a clean side of the rag on the car. We're never wiping the car with a dirty rag, and that's what happens with the 2-bucket method is no matter what you try to do, you're always taking dirt from the clean bucket and putting it, or the dirt from the dirty bucket and putting it into the clean bucket and then back onto the car. And that's really the first step to getting swirls on your car. And so each rag has 8 sides. Once I've used both of these sides, I can then flip it over the other way, and then I have 4 more clean sides. And so during washing the car, I may go through 5, 6, 7, 8 of these rags, but that's okay. I may also use 3 or 4 drying towels as well, and that's okay. I just take my time and I make sure that the rag is always clean. I mean, it can have a little dust on it, but once you see it get black, you're going to want to just go ahead and flip it over. And that's how I've kept my car from getting any swirls on it. I know there's a lot of skeptics out there about this method, but I can assure you I've been doing it for 7 months straight, and it works absolutely amazing, especially on Audi's very hard clear coat. I even do it on my wife's Japanese Subaru, which has very soft clear coat, and it also works phenomenally on her car as well. I ceramic coated her car and we barely ever even wash it. It's pretty amazing how well that stuff works. So this is the secret. I hope that it helps somebody who struggles with hard water like I do, who struggled with swirls like I did. And this just makes washing my car so enjoyable because it's done in 15 minutes. I can do it in the garage and then I'm done. And I can do this every week and it's not a chore anymore. And that's all thanks to this method. All right, so this is the last thing. This is Silica Spray. It's actually ceramic, but it doesn't last nearly as long. It works really great to use it on top of a coating, but you don't have to be ceramic coated to use it. It lasts 2 to 4 weeks and it works just like a ceramic. So I like to refresh the paint with this every 2 or 3 weeks, and it's really easy to use. All you need to do is shake it up and spray it on. I like to have 2 rags for this. This essentially wipes it in. And I really like these very soft microfiber from Arbor Freight. And this just polishes the shine. And that's it. And that kind of brings back the hydrophobic properties. If you have any contaminants in your paint or you don't have ceramic coating and you want your car to act like it's ceramic coated, this is a really great and fast way to basically, you could look at it like a wax, but much quicker, and it works better too. So with that, those are the 5 things I do to keep my car looking like this. So I hope this helps you. If you enjoyed this content, please like and subscribe and follow me on Instagram at blockchains with a Q. That's BLOQCHAINS. All right, thanks guys. Alright guys, that's it. I really appreciate you watching this video. If you enjoyed this or you learned something today, please consider a subscription or liking or commenting the video as I just share my passion for my car, and I'll definitely be making some more videos here in the very near future. So thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next time.